Hello and welcome again to another episode. I hope you've been having a good time with our summaries of different books. Thank you for your support that you've given us as Vidan Meds. We really appreciate that. Now let's go straight to our today's summary, which is a book by James Clear, which is a very nice and common book that you've probably heard. This is the book Atomic Habits. So today I want us to summarize or give a synopsis of Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, this summary that I'm giving you is the most detailed summary that you can ever find on the internet. And this book will appeal to you or this book will appeal to individuals who are, number one, seeking personal growth. And why do I say so? This is because Atomic Habits provides practical strategies for individuals seeking to make a positive change in their life, whether it is building healthy habits, breaking bad ones, or simply improving their overall well-being. Number two, this book will also appeal to professionals aiming for career advancement. This is because the book's emphasis is on continuous improvement and habit formation, which can be highly beneficial for professionals who are seeking to enhance their productivity and achieve their career goals. Number three, this book will also appeal to organizations which are fostering a culture of excellence. And why do I say so? This is because Atomic Habits offers valuable insights for organizations striving to achieve a culture of continuous improvement, where employees are empowered to adopt positive habits and contribute to the organization's success. Number four, this book will also appeal to athletes who are pursuing peak performance. This is because athletes who are seeking to optimize their performance and achieve their full potential will always want to benefit from examples and insights from such books as Atomic Habits, such as habit formation, goal setting, and building consistent routines. Number five, this book will also appeal to educators who are trying to promote personal growth and educators who aim to instill positive habits and personal development skills in their students can find valuable guidance in Atomic Habits, strategies for behavior change, and habit formation. This book, number six, lastly, is for anyone who is curious about the science of habits. These individuals with a general interest in understanding the science behind habit formation and behavior change will always find Atomic Habits explanations and practical applications engaging and very informative. Without forgetting, this is a great summary which can help you decide whether you should commit your resources, maybe your time and your money, to buying or reading the book before stocking it in your home library. This Atomic Habits synopsis or summary has got you covered. And if all these people who have mentioned, the 6 categories of people, you are one of them, or if maybe you are interested in knowing more about this book, I ask you to walk with me through this journey as I try to uncover some of the important concepts, takeaways, insights from the Atomic Habits book by James Clear. But before we go on further, let me give you contents of this summary that I'll give you. I'll give you the main topic of Atomic Habits. I'll also give you the publication year and genre and the writing style of the book. I'll also try to give you some themes which are presented, summary of the chapter titles and main sections, key takeaways and conclusions, author's background and qualifications, comparison of Atomic Habits to other books on the same subjects. I'll also try to expound more, though I've done so, on target audience and intended readership. I'll also give you the overall reception and critical response to the book my personal thoughts and opinions and recommendations. I'll also give you a list of other books which are similar to Atomic Habits that you can have a look and read. I'll also try to give you some practical ways and examples that you can start implementing some of the strategies, some of the tips, and the insights from this book in your real life right starting now. I'll also give you or try to summarize this book in one big main takeaway. Sometimes we find ourselves picking books to read, but we never finish them. Along the way, we lose the momentum and the synergy to go on, or we might take longer than maybe we expected. So I'll give you some key tips to help you in your reading journey of this book to keep you the momentum. I'll also tell you where you can buy this book. It will be an affiliate link. I'll also leave it down in the description of this video. You can use the link to buy the book, a hard copy of the book, or maybe listen to the audio of it in Amazon. It is an affiliate link that by buying the book using that link, you will be helping us get a small commission to keep the lights on and keep bringing you these goodies and others, so you'll not pay more by using that. So without much further ado, let's now go to the main meat of this summary. Let me begin by the main topic of Atomic Habits. Now, Atomic Habits is a self-help book that teaches you how to build good habits and break bad ones in order to achieve your goals and improve your life. It is a comprehensive, practical guide on how to change your habits and get 1% better every day, using a framework that Jame calls the 4 laws of behavior change. Atomic Habits teaches readers a simple set of rules for creating good habits and breaking bad ones. Now, where can we place this book in the literature categories, literature styles of writing? Now, what is the genre, the publication, and the writing style of Atomic Habits book? Atomic Habits, we've said, as we've begun by saying, it is a self-help book, and it teaches readers, or you, because you're a reader, how to change your habits and achieve your goals. This book was published in 2018 by Random House Business. The writing style of Jame is clear, even from the name. It's also concise and engaging. He uses real-world examples and stories to illustrate his points, and he provides practical advice that readers can implement in their own lives. He also has a sense of humor, which makes the book enjoyable to read. Overall, what can I say about the writing style of this book? It is well written, informative book that will not bore you when you are reading the book. It will also appeal to a wide range of readers. Here are some of the specific examples that I can note from the writing style by Jame Clear. He uses very simple language and avoids complicated jargon. He breaks those complex concepts into smaller and manageable steps. He also uses vivid examples and analogies to make his points very clear to understand. He has a conversational tone which makes the book feel like it is written by a friend. He is also honest and transparent about his struggles with habit change, which makes him relatable to readers. Overall, his writing style is effective because it is clear, concise, engaging, and informative. He makes it easy for readers to understand his ideas and apply them to their own lives. So that was all about the writing style, the genre, and the publication of Atomic Habits. Let's now go further to themes which are presented in this book, Atomic Habits. So I have quite a number of themes, 5 of them. In fact, I have 5 themes, main themes that I can note or I noted from this book that I found very, very informative and very outstanding in the book. Which are some of these themes that I found out? Number 1, we can have the theme which I call the power of small habits. Throughout this book, this I can say is the main theme of the book, the power of small habits. Clear emphasizes on the importance of focusing on small, incremental changes rather than drastic overhauls. He argues that small habits are more sustainable and can lead to significant results over time. For example, instead of trying to start a new workout routine and exercising for 1 hour every day, you could simply start by committing to walking for 15 minutes each day. 15 minutes, not even an hour, 15 minutes. So that is one of the main themes that I find in this book. Number two, another theme is Clear also presents the 4 laws of behavior change. So Clear outlines a framework that he calls the 4 laws of behavior change to guide habit formation. So which are these 4 laws? Make it obvious. What does he mean by making it obvious? He means to increase the visibility of cues and triggers which are desired habits or which desired habits want to have, and decrease the visibility of cues that trigger undesired habits. So I repeat, how do you make it obvious? Increase the visibility of cues that trigger. When talk of cues, we also talk of reinforcements. Increase the visibility of reinforcements that trigger the results that you want, and also decrease or diminish the visibility of those cues or those things that tell you to go into the results or the habits that you want to change, the undesired ones. Another number 2 of the 4 laws is make it attractive. And how do you make it attractive? Associate desired habits with positive emotions and undesired habits with the negative emotions. Always associate, make it attractive, associate desired habits with positive emotions and undesired habits with negative emotions. What is the 4th law in the 4 laws of behavior change? Make it easy. What does James mean by making it easy? Reduce the friction associated with desired habits and increase the friction which is associated with undesired habits. Reduce the friction which is associated with desired habits and increase the friction associated with desired habits. Then lastly, the fourth law of behavior change is make it satisfying. Make it satisfying. So ensure that the desired habits provide immediate and satisfying rewards, while undesired habits provide immediate and unsatisfying consequences. So those are the 4 laws of behavior change. Remember, the 4 laws of behavior change is the second theme that I found in this book. And which are these 4 laws that I've talked about? Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. So those are the 4 laws of behavior change. Now let's now go to theme number 3 that I also found in this book, and that theme I named it the compound effect of habits. The compound effect of habits. Where now here Clear demonstrates how small habits, when compounded over time, can lead to significant results. He uses the example of interest to illustrate this point. If you invest, for example, $1,000 at a 5% annual interest rate, it will grow to $1,628 in 10 years. If you invest the same amount at a 10% annual rate, it will grow to $2,593 in 10 years. This shows how even small differences in habits can lead to major differences in outcomes over time. So that was about the compound effect of habits. That was theme number 3. Then theme number 4 that I found in this book is the identity-based habits. Identity-based habits, where now here Clear emphasizes on the importance of aligning your habits with your desired identity and values. He argues that when you believe that you are a certain type of person, you are more likely to behave in ways that are consistent with that belief. For example, what does he mean by this? If you want to be a healthy person, you are more likely to eat healthy foods and exercise regularly if you believe that you are a healthy person. So always identify with the habits that of the person that you want to have. Now, the last theme that I have for you from this book, Atomic Habits, is continuous improvement. So Clear encourages us readers to adopt a mindset of continuous improvement, where he argues that habits are never fully formed and that there is always a room for growth. He suggests that you should regularly reflect on your habits and identify areas where you can improve. So those are 4 key themes. They are not just they are five, but those are not the only themes that Clear presents in his book. There are many more, but I found those 5 outstanding, and I believe that they've resonated with you and they've been of great help to you. Now let me go to the other bit, which is the summary of chapter titles and main sections of the book. Remember that these sections or chapters are summarized, and they may not be exactly word by word as they appear in the book, but the concept is the same. It is a summary. Now I can divide the book into several parts. I can have part 1, where I call it the fundamentals of habits. In chapter 1, which is the habit loop, chapter 1, Clear now introduces the concept of habits and how they are formed. He also explains the habit loop, which is a 4-step process that explains how habits are created. Which is this loop, the habit loop? It begins with a cue, craving, response, and reward. So that is the habit loop: the cue, the craving, response, and reward. In chapter 2, Clear talks of the power of habits, and in this chapter, what does he talk about? He discusses the impact of habits on our lives, and he also explains why small habits can lead to big results over time. In chapter 3, Clear talks of how habits are formed. How habits are formed, or how do they form? In this chapter, Clear dives into the science of habit formation. He also explains how habits are created and reinforced. In chapter 4, James talks of how to break bad habits. And how does he bring this chapter about? He provides strategies for breaking bad habits. He also explains how to identify and address the cues, cravings, and rewards that trigger bad habits. In chapter 5 of part 1, Clear talks of how to build good habits. Remember, chapter 4 was how to break bad habits. Now in chapter 5, it is how to build the good habits. And how does he present this chapter? He offers strategies for building good habits. He also explains how to create and reinforce cues, cravings, and rewards that support good habits. Now in part 2 of this book, I call it the 4 laws of behavior change. Remember the 4 laws? So those 4 laws can be in their different chapters. In chapter 6, we can talk of make it obvious. And how does Clear present this chapter? He introduces the first law of behavior change, which we've called make it obvious. He explains how to increase the visibility of cues that trigger desired habits and decrease the visibility of cues that trigger undesired habits. In chapter 7, he goes to the second law, which we call make it attractive. Make it attractive, whereby now in this chapter, Clear introduces the second law of behavior change, make it attractive. He also explains how to associate desired habits with positive emotions and undesired habits with negative emotions. In chapter 8, he goes to the third law of behavior change, which we call make it easy. Here, James explains how to reduce the friction associated with the desired habits and increase the friction associated with undesired habits. In chapter 9, James introduces the fourth law of behavior change, which we are calling make it satisfying. He explains how to ensure that the desired habits provide immediate and satisfying rewards, while undesired habits provide immediate and unsatisfying consequences. In part 3 of this book, we can call it the strategies for changing habits, strategies for changing your habits. Now, in this part 3, we can have chapter 10, which now James talks of the art of tiny habits, the art of tiny habits. And in this chapter, James discusses the power of tiny habits. He also explains how to start building good habits by focusing on very small, easy to do actions. In chapter 11, James talks of the environment designed for habits. Environment designed for habits. Here he explains how to design your environment to support good habits and make it difficult to engage in bad habits. He also provides strategies for creating a habit-friendly environment. In chapter 12, James talks of habit stacking, or to stock habit stacking. He introduces the concept of habit stacking. He explains how to link new habits to existing habits in order to make them easier to stick with. In chapter 13, James talks of the temptation battling, whereby now here he introduces the concept of temptation battling. He explains how to pair an undesired habit with a desired habit in order to make the undesired habit more appealing. Sounds like a tongue twister. Let me repeat what I said. James here explains how to pair an undesired habit with a desired habit in order to make the undesired habit more appealing. In chapter 14, James talks of the gold standard of habit change. The gold standard of habit change, whereby now in this chapter, James discusses the most effective strategies for changing habits. He also explains how to combine multiple strategies to create a powerful system for habit change. In part 4, we can talk of the identity change, whereby now in this part 4 you can have several chapters, such as chapter 15, whereby James talks of the identity-based habit, whereby now here he explains how habits shape our identity, and also argues that the best way to change our habits is to change your identity. In chapter 16, James talks of how to change your identity. He provides strategies for changing your identity and explains how to align your habits with your desired identity. In chapter 17, James talks of the habit equation, whereby now here in this chapter he introduces the habit equation. Who you are plus what you choose to do is equal to who you become. That is the habit equation. Who you are plus what you choose to do will give you who you become. He also in this chapter explains how to use the habit equation to create virtuous cycle of habit formation. Then in chapter 18, James talks of the role of habits in building a great life. He discusses the role of habits in building a great life. He also explains how to use habits to create a life that is aligned with your values and goals. In part 5, that is the conclusion part of the book, in chapter 19, James talks of the continuous improvement. How does he encourage us to do? He encourages us to adopt a mindset of continuous improvement, and he also explains how to use habits to create a lifelong journey of growth. So those are the main sections and chapter titles of Atomic Habits. Let me now go to the key takeaways or conclusions that we can take from the book Atomic Habits. I have several of them also that you can go very, very fast through each of them. So one of the takeaways that James talks about, or the book presents, is focus on systems, not goals. Focus on systems, not goals, because now here clear argues that it is more important to focus on building good systems and habits than on setting and achieving specific goals. Takeaway number 2, start small. Do not try to change too much at once. Start by making small, incremental changes to your habits. Takeaway number 3, make it easy. The easier a habit is to do, the more likely you are to do it over and over again. Find ways to make your habit good, easier, and it will become less harder. Number 4, Be patient. That is another takeaway. Be patient. It takes time to change your habits. Do not get discouraged if you do not see the results immediately. Just keep it, and eventually you will see the changes that you want. Number 5, habits are the key to success. That is another takeaway. Habits are the key to success. By focusing on building good habits and breaking bad ones, you can achieve your goals and become the person you want to be. The next takeaway, small changes can lead to big results over time. Do not worry about making big changes all at once. Start by focusing on one small habit at a time. The next takeaway, your environment plays a big role in your habits. Make it easy to do the things you want to do and hard to do the things that you do not want. The other takeaway, do not beat yourself up if you slip up. Do not beat yourself if maybe you mess along the way when you're trying to build that good habit. Everyone makes mistakes. Just pick yourself and keep moving, keep going. Another takeaway is that small, consistent changes can have a significant impact over time. Another takeaway, by focusing on making small habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, remember those are the 4 laws of behavior change, we can change our lives and our behaviors. Our environment and social influences also play a very big role in shaping our habits. Our habits can shape your identity and vice versa. And the last takeaway is, by mastering the art of tiny incremental changes, we can achieve remarkable results. As I wind up this part 1 of the 2 parts of this summary, I want us to go over through some of the interesting facts about the author, and the author is James Clear. So who is James Clear? James Clear is a writer and a speaker on the topic of habit formation. He is also the author of popular blog jamesclear.com and the #1 New York bestseller Atomic Habits, which we are summarizing today. Clear has a degree in biochemistry from Denison University, and he has worked in strength and conditioning coach and a consultant to business and organizations. Clear is known for his research-based approach to habit formation. He argues that small incremental changes can lead to big results over time, and that the key to success is to create and stick to good systems. Clear's work has been featured in publications such as the New York Times, Forbes, and Time. And he has given talks on Fortune 500 companies and conferences around the world. Clear is a passionate advocate for the power of habits. He believes that habits are the foundation of all success in every aspect of life, and that anyone can change their habits if they set their minds to it. James' work has helped millions of people to improve their lives by changing their habits, and he is one of the leading experts on the habit formation in the world. Here are some of James Clear's notable accomplishments. He is the author of this #1 New York Times bestseller. He is the founder of popular blog jamesclear.com. He is a speaker at Fortune 500 companies and conferences around the world. He is featured in publications such as the New York Times, Forbes, and Time. He has helped millions of people to improve their lives by changing their habits. So that is the end of part 1 of this summary. In part 2, we'll go on. I'll give you comparison, target audience, and some of the tips on and ways on how we can start implementing the knowledge that we get from this book in real life and start seeing those significant results. I'll also give you some tips on how you will read this book from cover to cover without losing the synergy and the momentum along the way. So until next time, from Vidan Meds, this was Daniel, your host. Let's meet in part 2, and I hope that you will get the insights and the tips and the advice that James presents. Until next time, bye bye for now from vidanmeds.com.